what I think about cryptocurrencies and how do cryptocurrencies connect to gold. And clearly, I've given this a lot of thought, and I continue to give it a lot of thought. Some people seem to have a lot of clarity in their mind about issues about I don't think most people should have a lot of clarity because they're not clear objectively. So rather than tell you what I really think about cryptocurrencies, let me preface it by saying I think there is speculative potential in cryptocurrencies, and I own some for that reason. But if we're comparing gold and, let's say, cryptocurrency as a safe haven or something that is a source of independent store of wealth, then I think it behooves one to ask some questions. I would like to pose some of these questions to you. I'm not going to answer the questions. I will let you answer your own questions, and then maybe you can come with your own conclusions. So let me ask you this question. If you were outfitting a ship to sail across the ocean, knowing that you might face some pretty severe storms, and you were buying equipment, particularly safety equipment for that ship, would you buy equipment that was very highly technically sophisticated, brand new, but never been tested in a storm? What percentage would you buy that hasn't been tested? Would you buy half of it not tested because it's really good looking or looks very efficient, looks very good? Would it be 10%? Would it be none? That's something for you to decide. The reason I'm asking this question is because we know that cryptocurrencies have never been tested in a real crisis, systemic crisis, capital control crisis, not by a country like Venezuela, but by the major countries that do have control of the networks and the internet and do have capabilities. Let me ask you another question. If you were seeking financial independence and privacy for your assets, for your wealth, do you think it's a good idea to have every transaction you perform with your money indelibly and forever recorded in a distributed database, which you do not control, which no one can control, where the only thing that prevents it from being audited and brought back to your doorstep 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, is state-of-the-art cryptography of today? Or maybe that's not a good idea. So for instance, would you have put all your money into Commodore 64 computer, which those of you who don't know what that is, in 1982, that was state-of-the-art computing system, which, by the way, still holds the record for the biggest selling computer product ever until now. Now, the only reason it's the biggest selling until now, not because it really was the biggest selling, it was the only one. And so that was a company that came up with the state-of-the-art computer. It laid the groundwork for many more computers that were better and more wonderful and more capable. But who remembers about Commodore 64? So when you look at cryptocurrencies of today, first generation technology, just like Commodore was, do you think it's wise to put a lot of your wealth and a lot of your hopes into a first generation technology that may have tremendous future, but actually maybe 1.0 version in a long string of improvements that are yet to come? So it's for everybody to answer for themselves.
Hey, how's everybody doing today? Hope everything is going well. And the reason why I think it's important to take the point of view of people in this generation is because ultimately it's their money that the crypto space needs to hit new all-time highs. And I think it's valuable to get an understanding of how they're thinking, what their investment framework is. And I think the key takeaway from this clip is that it looks like the boomer generation is finally dipping their toes in, but I disagree with his analogy. And this is why I think the technology resonates with the younger people versus the older generations, because the younger folks understand it better. If you're going to compare Bitcoin to anything, you don't compare it to a machine like a computer. You have to compare it to a network like the internet. At this point, Bitcoin is entrenched. It's highly unlikely that it's going to be displaced. I mean, just take a look at the HTTP protocol. What's the chances that we're going to uproot that and start all over? Even though we have the technology to produce a better base layer. And I think as millennial investors, we can take full advantage of their naivete by investing in alts that we think would appeal to the boomer generation of investors. This is not financial advice, but I think we're at the stage where a lot of the mid to small cap alts have the potential to produce massive rallies. My personal strategy is to diversify, put some of it in dollars and some of it in Bitcoin. Because being the Bitcoin permabull that I am, I think in the long run, wealth isn't going to be denominated in fiat. It's going to be denominated in Bitcoin or in Satoshis. That money will probably end up going on the lending platforms that I use. I've done full video reviews. If you're interested in checking those out, click the upper right hand corner of your screen. And before we dive into this video, I just wanted to say that Celsius is giving away $130. All you have to do is enter these promo codes into your app and deposit $500, and you'll be eligible to get $130 in bonuses. If that's something that interests you, make sure you watch this video in its entirety. I'll be showing you guys exactly how I got $130 in promo bonuses. And if you enjoy my insights, you like receiving promo bonuses like this, make sure you guys subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell so you get notified when I release these videos. Also, make sure you do me a huge favor by commenting down below and liking this video. With that being said, let's go ahead and dive into this video. SEC Commissioner Hester Peirce proposes 3-year safe harbor period for crypto token sales. SEC Commissioner wants to give legitimate crypto projects a shot at success without running afoul of U.S. security laws. Now, this is still a proposal, but I think it's key. I think it's pivotal for a lot of these crypto companies, and especially in terms of attracting talent to the United States. I think it's key that the United States develops a crypto-friendly environment. Otherwise, they're going to end up going to other countries. And since our current U.S. president loves jobs, I think this would be a good selling point. And as I mentioned before, it looks like the Republican Party is going to control the executive branch. They'll keep the Senate, and most likely they'll also keep, and possibly they'll go ahead and take the House. And if that's the case, I think the likelihood of regulations or proposals like this going through increases drastically. Coming back to this article, under this proposal, crypto startups would have 3-year grace period from their first token sale to achieve a level of decentralization sufficient to pass through the agency's securities evaluations, including the Howey's test, the famous U.S. Supreme Court assessment. And here, Hester outlines why she thinks this is important. The application of federal securities laws to these transactions frustrates the network's ability to achieve maturity and prevents the transformation of the token sold as a security to a non-security token functioning on the network. And this not only applies to the centralized platforms. I mean, most networks, most blockchains, they start off as being highly centralized or relatively more centralized than they are today. But once they've been nurtured, once they've achieved their network effect, they've been widely adopted, at that point, they become more decentralized. But to get to that stage, you have to go through a period of centralization, and that's hard to do given the current regulatory environment. And in this section of the article, she talks about what the ICO companies would have to do in order to get this classification. And a lot of it actually depends on the team acting in good faith. I mean, their main objective here is obviously to allow for innovation, but also to make sure that bad actors stay out. We had a lot of ICO projects that scammed a lot of people, and obviously that's something that they don't want. In fact, they were created to prevent bad actors from taking advantage and swindling investors. And the last thing I want to say is that, we have Kelly Loeffler, who is the ex-CEO of Bakkt, who just took the Senate seat in Georgia, and she has a chair in the Agriculture Committee, which oversees the CFTC. During Trump's impeachment trial, she was doing her best to eviscerate the Democrats and their claim that, Trump should be impeached. And she was actually recognized by Trump for doing that. And recently I saw her, do a talk on Fox. So to me, it looks like she's doing her best to network so she can gain more influence. And if she gets that influence, it's very likely that she'll get her way when it comes to making decisions about the CFTC. Regulations, in my view, have been a bottleneck for the industry, and it looks like the bottleneck is starting to loosen up a little bit. Value locked into DeFi protocols has crossed 1 billion. You guys know that I recently started publishing DeFi videos. I'm very optimistic. I'm very bullish on the space. I think this number is just going to grow and grow and grow. And it's part of the reason why I'm bullish about Ethereum. I think Ethereum has a very bright future. Of course, again, this is not financial advice, But recently, we've seen a pretty strong rally in the price. It bottomed here at 120-ish, and we're sitting at 222 today. We're approaching another pocket of resistance here. Once we pass this 240 mark, I think we'll easily hit 300. But coming back to the article, it looks like in December, 670 million was locked, and today we're sitting at 100 billion locked into these DeFi protocols. MakerDAI is still the most dominant protocol, currently sitting at 60% dominance. The amount of funds locked in the Maker is now worth over 597 million. And there's various other protocols in the DeFi ecosystem that are responsible for doing different things. We have lending protocols, which is Maker. We have derivatives protocol, Synthetics. We also have decentralized exchange protocols like Uniswap. And you have to understand, part of the reason why the value has gone up to 1.01 billion isn't just because more ETH is being locked up as collateral. It's also because the price of ETH has been going up. And if you're new to DeFi and you wanted to sort of get a crash course, I've recently published a video. Make sure you guys check that out. And I do plan to publish video reviews in the near future. So if you guys are interested in learning more about DeFi, make sure you guys give me a follow. China to inject $174 billion of liquidity into markets amid new corona outbreak. Trump did a number on the Chinese economy with the tariffs. Their supply chain was, just bleeding. And they were showing even the fake numbers that they were disseminating to the public. They were the worst numbers the country had seen in decades. And I just recently read that a stunning 400 million people were on shutdown in Guangzhou, which, is an area that is responsible for a lot of the agriculture in China, but also has some of the largest ports. And so it looks like their economy is coming to a dead halt. If you don't have people moving around, you don't have economic activity. And on top of that, they produce a lot of parts that people use around the world. So these other companies are going to have to find different sources, or people are going to have to pay more for products. So what I've personally done is, in anticipation of this, a couple weeks ago, I went defensive in my stock portfolio. I think the United States can weather in the storm. I think in the long run, the stock market will be just fine. But I'm just hedging myself in case we get an acute sell-off. And on top of that, I also took some of my stocks and I bought crypto with them. So far, that trade's been working out really well for me. But I wouldn't be surprised if other people made the same move I did, because a lot of this takes a while to play out. So I did it ahead of the crowd, and I'm betting that when this actually takes effect, when people start actually feeling the pinch, you'll see more traders move into a defensive posture. And I'm betting some of that money will end up in crypto. I think people who are making defensive moves, they'll buy the traditional stuff like gold, fiat, bonds. But I do think, like the gentleman in the video that I showed you guys earlier, that I think some people will buy a little bit of crypto. And given how thinly the assets are traded, a little money from them could go a long way. Before I show you guys how to get that $130 bonus from Celsius, and by the way, guys, if you don't know anything about Celsius and you want to learn more about Celsius Network, I've done full video reviews. You can check them out by clicking the upper right-hand corner of your screen. But I wanted to go over a little bit of TA. It was a request from one of my subscribers. To me, this is what I see happening. I think we've made, a 5-wave correction down. It's been completed. And if you guys follow me on Twitter, on the 13th of January, I was saying around this area, to me, it seems like accumulation is taking place. And not soon after that, we had a huge push up. And I think a lot of the traders took profits here. And I think they took it prematurely. And again, in this zone here, to me, it seemed like we were, experiencing accumulation, and that accumulation continued to go on, and we saw another push up. And to be honest with you guys, I don't think we're done yet. I see us just grinding up. I think we'll easily cross 10,000. And to show you guys, or put this chart into context to show you guys where we are, I think we're somewhere around this area here. Once we cross 10,000, I wouldn't be surprised to see a movement like this. I don't know if that movement will take us to new all-time highs, but I wouldn't be surprised to see, 15, 16,000. And one thing that people don't understand is that when the prices are going down like this, people are buying and selling, but people are still buying. So the net effect is that Bitcoin is being removed off the market. So Bitcoin was being removed off the market here, and obviously you had people selling, but you also had people buying, right? That's why you had these huge bounces. On the way up, the supply is thinning, but also on the way down, it's thinning too. All that thinning can put a significant pressure on the prices, because if you have thin supply, it's not going to take much volume for you to take the price higher. And what reinforces this is that you see some of these alts back when Bitcoin, was approaching 14,000, Bitcoin Cash hit almost 500. And if you look at where the price is today, it's almost about to eclipse that. And you also see that with other alts as well. If you look at Ethereum Classic, not only did it eclipse it, it actually went higher. And if you look at where it's at right now, I don't think it's going to stop. I think it's going to go, into the 20s eventually. And now to end the video, I'm going to show you guys how to get a free $130. If you already have the Celsius app, all you need to do is enter in the following promo codes and deposit $500 worth of crypto into your Celsius account. And when you do that, you'll be eligible to get $130 in promo bonuses. If you don't have an account, you can use my referral link in the description below. By signing up with that link and depositing $200, you'll get a $10 bonus. So if you're new to Celsius, you could potentially get $140 for free by simply depositing $500 worth of crypto. And you can see here, they've already said that they're going to give me $130, but they're going to lock it until 1 month has elapsed. So after a month, that $130 will be credited to my account. And I personally recommend doing this sooner rather than later because sometimes they have limits on how many people can use the promo code. Also, the Bitcoin and the Celsius token that they're locking up for you today is based on the price that they're worth today. So if the price of Bitcoin goes up in the next couple of days, you'll be getting less Bitcoin. So if you guys like this video, you like my insights, you like this promo bonus, make sure you guys subscribe, click that notification bell, and make sure you guys give the video a like and comment down below. With that, this is CryptoOneStop signing out. I'll talk to you folks next time. Bye.